Please enjoy this recorded demonstration of one of my online classes where we painted these two birds. I edited the class so that you just see these two, and if you'd like to join one of my online classes, I'll have more information about that after the video, and I have links below in the caption that tell you how to do that as well. Hope you enjoy.
So I like to get their torso shape established-ish, you know, general soft shape. And then I like to get their head at least placed. I always find that hummingbirds, like that transition between their skull and their beak is such a funny little moment. And then I just try to get the beak angle pretty well established. I kind of think I got his head a little bit big, so let's make his body just a little bit more elongated. Check for those proportions. I don't mind if they're a little bit chubby or something like that, but I don't want them to look weird, right? Let's get a branch. I guess weird is relative, but non-species adjacent. Okay. And then obviously get an eye, or at least a placeholder for it. Okay, so once I get my very rough sketch going, then I go back and I revisit my choices, and I make some sort of executive decisions about which lines I want to keep. Okay. Okay, I feel pretty good about that. So I'm going to grab my trusty kneaded eraser and then clean up my sketch. Kind of non-essential lines. And then I like to pounce my sketch too, because if it gets a little bit too dark, I don't want that graphite to really mix too much with my paint. Okay, great. Now this little guy is great. I think it's, it looks a little bit brown or maroon, but I think that's supposed to be red right here. And then that beautiful green. So I'm going to emphasize that red a little bit more than in the photograph. And then we've got the gray on the body and a little bit of that rust here. So that's what I'm just going to kind of jump in and push. So again, I'm going to start with a larger brush to keep myself loose. I'm going to jump in with my yellow-green. I'm just going to go straight with that color because I don't want to lose that color intensity. I know it's kind of a lot, but I love this color. It shows up in a lot of my paintings. I think artists do that. We develop a palette that we really like, and then you can almost pick some artists by the colors they choose. There's probably an instructor out there that's groaning, but I don't think it's a bad thing. It just becomes part of your artistic voice. Okay. I don't want to think too hard about my choices. Some brown happening here. Let's do a little brown. Nice. I just don't want to catch myself fiddling too much, which I do love to do. I've already got some red with sepia on my palette, and I like that. I'm going to add a little bit more vermilion to it, and I'm just going to let that slightly toned down color dictate the ruby-throated. Oh yeah, that's perfect. It's kind of a happy medium between what I see in the photograph and what I wish it looked like. So that's going to be my little artistic editing right there. Oh yeah, that's nice. Next, I'm going to grab my gray, which I have a little bit of Payne's gray with sepia kind of mixed in right here, and that's going to be perfect. I'm just going to plop that right in here on my bird. I'm going to try and activate a little bit of this red and see if it'll mix with this gray. I think that would be nice. Pull that down. That's nice. Keep that soft. Ooh, let's add a little bit of this blue down here in the gray too, so it doesn't get too static feeling. Now these areas are almost black in the tail. I'm tempted, well, I'm not going to, but I was tempted to just like let them be in that secondary pass, but there's just a hint of some warm browns. I'm just gonna put a little quick little placeholder of brown in there. Now his beak is almost all black. There is a little hint of some gray where the light hits it. So I'm going to put a little bit of that underneath it. Otherwise, I think he's in a really good place. I'm going to see if there's any, if I can add some of this purple to the red. Oops. It's just wet enough to do that. Just a little bit like that. Okay, like that. Again, we need to give a little bit of love to the branch while we're here. And I just kind of I just grabbed some colors on my palette and we're just going to pull them across. And with this area, if this activates into the branch, that's totally fine. I don't mind. I'm going to add a little bit of blue into the branch just for fun. Let that play. Okay, now this little guy is ready for some drying time. And I'm going to start strong with my vermilion and just get that beak in. I'm going to go ahead and just paint the whole beak because I'm not doing a background. And then go ahead and just get that vermilion in some places. Probably could do that a little bit stronger. Let's see. I'm going to switch to just a regular yellow, orange. And that in where I'm seeing it. Let that. It's getting a little bit lost. And then I'm going to grab this purple and put that purple in for the wing. But I wanted it to mix with the oranges because I think that is visually to me how this tail wing thing is happening. And I love that moment. That's great. So let's let that kind of come up a little bit. It's turning more into a brown. So I want to quickly switch. Whoa, too much brown. Still too much brown. All right. Switch to a burnt umber and bring that burnt umber up into the main part of my bird. And I'm just going to go right up around the eye. This area is going to get addressed in the second pass. And we're going to bring this brown right underneath the wing like that. Now I want to grab some of this yellow ochre to get that warm color in there. And then, okay, kind of have a plan for the rest of it because of the background is creating that edge for me. So I'm going to have to do something a little bit different rendering her, but I have a plan. Let me get my anatomy structure a little bit more solid. Places. Okay. And then obviously we want to do our branch that she's sitting on. All right. I really love the way the colors are mixing. Let's transition that a little bit softer. Yeah. All right. So she needs to go under the fan, and I'm going to grab our little hummingbird. Ah, perfect. Our hummingbird's ready to go. Okay. Oh, it's so cute. Okay, so now I get back to my number 4 round, which is the smallest brush I have right now in this setup. And I'm going to go ahead like I did before and start with the beak and eye area. I want to get that structure in there established. Always like to draw my little highlight in, even if it feels too big, so that I have a better chance of saving that white. Okay. We got a little bit long on the beak, but that's okay. Since I've got this on my brush, I'm going to go ahead and do some of the darker areas that I see. So feet. Of course, they have adorable, tiny little hummingbird feet. They're so cute. Okay. All right. I'm going to use a darker green, maybe mix it with this blue green I've got going to do a little bit of the darker work along the top of the head. I got to fight the temptation to really get in there and get those little scaly feathers in there. I feel like I should not in this particular style. So I'm going to be very restrained. A little bit of the red, a little red there. Get that transition between the eye and the beak. I feel like that's kind of an important moment, so I am going to give a little bit of detail there. Trying to decide if I want to do a little bit of shadow work here. I think I do, but I'm going to grab some of this blue, Prussian blue sepia mix to do that, so that it's not just a bunch of gray hanging out. And I'm going to just do some of that, just like that. And add just a little bit of that right there. Okay. Is he done? Maybe. All right, let's grab some brown and some not Prussian blue, Payne's gray, and make a murky kind of color and do a nice little shadow here so that it looks like he's sitting on the branch. Like that. His little feet, a little shadow. And then we'll do a little bit of underneath the branch shadow. All right. And grab a little bit of this and go just a smidge darker right here. And then I'm going to stop. Okay, I'm just going to stop right there. I think that turned out super cute. I really like the simplicity of this, but I'm also tempted to do some foliage. But maybe we'll do, what's the other one? I'll do foliage on the dove. I'm just going to leave this guy plain for now. Okay. I thank you for your patience. We're still in the training phase a little bit. All right, back to our female cardinal, and that'll be a good place to round out our evening. Hopefully we'll get a chance to go and look at that dove again, but we'll just see how I do on timing. Okay, getting my Payne's gray with my little number 4 brush. I'm going to start by getting the eye and the beak area established. And she's got a little bit of a subtle highlight, but I'm going to make sure it's in there. Okay, I think that's a good start for some of those marks. And I want to get her little feet done. Again, we're not going to do her pink feet. We're going to do little stick feet. but I'm going to still pay attention to the anatomy. Okay. Now, I was talking about how I wanted to address the torso belly area, and I think what I'm going to do is just take a softer gray and go ahead and get that that line in there. Since I'm not going to do a background that's going to get the white of her stomach area in there for me. And I think that'll work just fine. I'm also going to, while I have this gray, I was thinking about, I wanted to add a little bit more around the eye area. Again, I feel like if you're going to add some extra detail somewhere, the eye and beak area is always a good place to do that. I got the dark red on my brush, and I'm just going to build some of this detail, just a little bit. In some places. All right, and then we have, I'm going to grab some of this Prussian blue sepia to work into the back here. I think that's going to really read nicely. Oh, wrong color. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's good. And we'll just use that same, well, some of this kind of grayish blue to add a little bit of a shadow into our branch. Okay. Now, generally, this is a wintry type bird, and obviously our reference is the winter, but I want to look at the other cardinal for inspiration to add a little bit of foliage to this piece. I think would be nice. So I'm going to grab, I have this green on my palette that was supposed to be a sap green, and it looks more like an astroturf green, and I really don't like it. So let's add some yellow ochre to it so it's not, so it'll be a little bit more natural color. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so I've got my branch established, but I'm going to just pretend that there's these, this foliage here, and I'm going to just add some nice bright green stems behind her. Just very crisscrossy and hopefully feeling not too affected. I already like it better. Nice. And then just add some leaves. And what's fun about this style is you don't want, it to be perfect. I like how some of the leaves are just kind of floating. They don't really feel like they are anywhere in particular. They can be kind of jumbled together in places. That would have been a good way to do her, the front of her breast. I could have used this green to create that negative space, but I sort of made this decision last minute to do the green, which I think is so pretty with her coloring. And then you just add as many leaves as you want. You just kind of build your story, build your background. Make sure it's not too perfect because that's how nature is. Just going to add some random kind of leaves. Ooh, I like that a lot.
If you'd like to join one of my watercolor classes online, I have two different versions for you. I have a live class and I have pre-recorded classes. So my live classes meet weekly. On Tuesdays, I offer a morning class and an afternoon class. You can choose whichever is more convenient for your schedule. And we meet all the Tuesdays of a month, mostly. And then each month, I start a different subject matter. So one month might be flowers, the next month might be animals, the next month might be line and wash technique, the next month might be painting glass. So you can jump in whenever you're interested in a subject matter, or you can just keep taking the classes and just learn all of the different things. I teach my classes in a way that you will learn all the techniques with each subject matter. Doesn't really matter. And you're always welcome to paint whatever you'd like to paint during that month and get feedback for what you are painting. I offer feedback through the modules, the lessons for each week that you'll get through the website. And then I offer in the live classes, you can get feedback live if you wish. And you can also ask questions in real time, which is really a benefit. But those live classes are also recorded. So if you have something scheduled and you have to miss, you can just watch the recording later. You do not have to be on camera. You do not have to be speak up or talk or anything. I don't call you out. I mostly just have maybe a short lecture about our technique, show you some artist inspirations, and then I just jump into my demonstration and I just talk throughout the painting so you know exactly what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And then you can jump in and ask questions if you wish. So you can paint along, you can paint after class, whichever works for you. My recorded classes are compiled from my live classes. So I'll take different recordings from the month, whichever month I'm doing, and I'll create a recorded class. So you'll get 4 weeks of content through that as well. And then you can just literally just watch that at your convenience whenever. You don't get the live feedback. And right now I do have a feature where you can email me if you would like feedback on your paintings. But if I get overwhelmed, I may have to shut that down. If you're new to watercolor and you aren't sure of basic techniques, I recommend my foundations class. I walk you through how to control watercolor step by step. I talk about setting up your palette, what kind of supplies you need. And then I walk you through 2 paintings so you understand how to apply the techniques to painting something like a painting, right? And I do recommend that class, although I feel like I'm very beginner friendly as well, because I definitely want everyone to understand how to control this medium. I understand a lot of people don't get um, very thorough instruction with watercolor, and I aim to rectify that with my classes. So if you're interested, you can find the link below in the caption about how to find what classes are available and how to sign up. And I probably have a coupon code as well that will relate to the recorded class that this demonstration you just watched is applying towards. So I really hope to see you in my classes in the future. And if you have questions, please reach out. I would be happy to answer them. Have a great day and happy painting.